before we hit record today, I was asking Jacqui about, an outsourced CFO service for my business, and because I'm at the stage where, in terms of the business, it's established. We've been doing this podcast now since 2018, well established. I don't really have any structure because I'm actually crap at managing money. Like, I'm the money guy or a money guy, and I suck at managing money. So in my personal life, that's why I've got a really good system that I outsource my behavior to that system. Yeah. And that helps me keep on track.
Yeah, and
but
that's
in the
gold.
Business,
that's gold. You have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
in the business, I don't have that, and I need to now get a bit more dialed in because, and this is the thing, you might be out there doing very well with your money personally, like I am, and you might just have a couple of bank accounts. Oh, we don't go into debt. We're saving. If I need something, I just put the money in the jar and grab it. But if there's no goals linked to your system and your life, and I'm talking to myself at the moment because I'm leading somewhere with this that hopefully will encourage everyone, you will just micro overspend and it will just kind of creep up. I'm now looking at, in my personal life, I actually don't have any financial goals in my personal life.
Well, you probably could think of some though.
And
think of it another way, just in that conversation of outsource CFO or finance function. I often talk to people about their personal finance village. So it's like, and this is a big issue, I think, for all of us, is kind of who's in that circle of influence that we talk to and work with. And if my strengths are X or Y, and perhaps I'm not so good on, how I run the business side of things or the admin, you need to bring somebody in to do that for you. And I think that's where I talk about the personal finance village being that non-emotional sounding board that can kind of help you, hey, Glen, you probably need somebody to help you out here. Let's get this stuff on track, because this could be one of those flaws that might, cause you problems in the future. And so one of the things is considering who we all have around us, and whether that's a business coach or a financial advisor, or a lawyer or a good mate who's qualified in a particular area that's relevant to the decision you're trying to make.
Yeah, and I will probably tack onto that to get people thinking. At the start of the episode, you talked about, well, we don't just need a financial advisor and drop $4,000 or $5,000. And that's kind of the backstory for your kind of FYI, Jacqui. I started this podcast because when I was a practicing financial advisor, had all these people come in, hey, Glen, we need financial advice. We need financial advice. I'm like, no, you don't. You need to budget. You need to spend less than what you earn. And you need to,
save
get
something.
your house in order.
Yes. Yeah.
Then we can work with you. Now, I think we don't always need a financial advisor, but we need a financial plan. So in that village, you might not always need that lawyer, but you've got that trusted person to plug in if you want to buy a property, if you've got some issues. And I think with the changes that I personally have and, building this studio and all that, I'm just doing it different now because I can't continue to expect different results with the same vibe in my business. And this is the challenge to people listening. You can't expect a different financial result in the next 6 months, 12 months, 1 month, or 1 week if you keep doing the same thing. Like, end of podcast. And I'm not saying this preachy as in do this. I'm friggin' living this myself today. I was talking to my bookkeeper today. I'm like, I need to change something because I need a different result here and I can't just wish it upon.
No, and actually one of the things I do talk a lot about, Glen, is the biggest money mistakes people make. And I think there are 3 of them. And I'm
going to write these down.
And the first one, which you're going to hate, is wearing and driving your money, which is people. And I've got to be honest, if you're 30, it's a lot easier to own a nice car than it is to own a home. And so it's within your reach and you go for it. The second thing is basically head in the sand, which a lot of people are in denial about what type of money position they're in or situation they're in, because, money comes in, money goes out, it all kind of works, we're okay. And then the third one is just having no idea of what it costs to open the front door, really understanding what baseline costs there are for their lifestyles. And so this is good. This is good. So I reckon those listening, because I'm just going this. So number one, I categorically do not wear or drive my money. Yeah, that's like I've got a $22,000 Volvo that I bought. Oh yes, cash. I did hear about the Volvo. Yes, and you do spend, you buy car, and I am similar. I used to lease my cars though. So when I was 30, I'd be leasing the latest, or 35 maybe, the latest BMW or something, right? So, and part of that for me was also corporate culture. So I was in a place where that seemed to be the right car to have, and it was within reach. Yep. And then clothes, I appreciate you've got a great uniform, and I'd like to have the same one. But it's another thing that's within reach. And if you're turning up to an office or a business premise each day and you don't have the beautiful black T-shirt, which I generally wear, by the way, just not today for you, then you spend money on those things. And then it's the accessories that go with it as well. It's just easy. It's easy to spend. And there's no guardrail, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, that's true. The checklist is your head in the sand. Now, I don't think my head's in the sand about my situation. I know that I need to change something because I want a different result in my business, but it can apply in your own financial life. So are you in denial? Are you actually, like we said at the top, taking ownership of your situation? So my head isn't in the sand, and my baseline cost, I know how much it is to wake up of a morning.
Yeah, which I love. And if you're staying within the limits of that, and checking that, every quarter, you just go back and, because we know how costs go up, check back in with that. And I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. So we do, and there's a free download. If you just want to Google, everyone, the Glen James Spending Plan, it's a 100% free online course. You can download my spreadsheet. You can put all your income on page 1, all your expenses page 2. On page 3, it will tell you exactly how much it costs you to wake up of a morning.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, that's really good. So the question is, if you aren't yes to all of those 3, what are you going to change tomorrow to start to move to a yes? So
if you're in a position where you are making those mistakes?
Well, I'm just kind of like, if you're like, no, I'm a realist with my head's not in the sand. I know it costs me X amount to wake up of a morning, but I get a bit spendy on clothes in the car, and I know it's a luxury. Yeah. So it's just more of that awareness.
Yes. Because
and taking action.
And it takes us to the ultimate question, right, which is, are you going to continue to work the way you are for the rest of your life? And if the answer to that question is no, and I guarantee every listener will say no, then how the hell do you think you're going to get off this treadmill if you don't make changes? And quite frankly, the bottom line of all this is, what percentage of all of that analysis is leading to savings and investment? So at what point is income being generated that's not requiring you to show up every day? I always am looking for opportunity or ways, how can I create, we used to call them sleep works when I was at Deloitte, where the business was making money while we were sleeping. So what are the things, how are you putting money aside, whether it is something as simple as compound interest in a term deposit or something, but where are you actually taking advantage of those things to create income streams that just don't rely on physical exertion? And that's when you start to crack the nut open, because the reality is a lot of people haven't got that set aside. They might dabble, but it'll be $5,000, maybe $10,000. It'll be play money and probably more risk, likely having a higher risk profile.
Yeah, I just back to the cars thing, because a lot of us will spend too much on cars, and that's, it just, and a funny thing, I had a friend call me the other day, their family car they've had for over 12 years, they did buy it brand new with a loan, and like, that's all well and good. Then it's like, oh, Toyota, we can do the Prado, and they've got this finance, and then there's the future value guarantee. So at the end of the 4 years that you buy it back. And I'm like, mate, based on your situation right now and the history of your family's car ownership, please, go get a loan.
Yeah.
Don't do it more than 4 years. Put 20% into it and just buy it, because you're going to keep the car for 10, 12 years. I don't want to see you now onto this endless treadmill
Well,
of balloon payments and cash outs.
Is the opportunity for everyone listening, it's like, what are your money values? So if we haven't worked those out, part of it, for example, for me, changed from leasing everything to owning things outright. So trying to take those, they're big steps, but they require some serious focus on outgoings. Like, you've got to absolutely know what your outgoing. You've got to own every outgoing. I know, going back to sort of
and
full
like
circle
I'm kind of like, I buy my phone outright now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
that's
I even
great.
do that. Like, every area is just, I need a new iPhone, bam, done.
Yeah.
But it takes a while to get to that level.
Yeah. So being prepared to, so we haven't talked about the word sacrifices yet, and I know that sounds a bit harsh. People might find that harsh. I earn my money, I can do what I want with it. But actually, I think that some of, if you look at your money values, and they are that you'd like to be able to save some money and have some investment income down the track, then you might need to make some sacrifices against what you thought was a suitable lifestyle for the income you're earning. And that's that can be quite in your face, and it requires a whole lot of discipline. And we talked a little bit before, but having guardrails on, which is kind of where these goals, if you go big picture, come in. They're quite handy. I think about the North Star, not the North Star that King Charles was talking about on the news this last week, but actually having a North Star about where you want to head to. And you can use your money values, you can use your life goals, whatever it is, but just helps kind of tame the beast, the spending beast. Because, I think we're all the same. We're in this capitalistic world. The whole job is to find a new product, produce a new iPhone that looks something different, so we all have to own that. We feel completely taken. You just got to have this stuff, and so you keep upgrading, you keep spending more, and then the reality is you can't keep up with it, and you need another job. It's tough.
Yeah, and I think the challenge for people listening is, what guardrails can you put in your life? And I really, like, as an example. We can get caught in the weeds easy. People were like, oh, what card should I use when I travel overseas?
Yeah.
For my own life, I've got a category guardrail. Yeah. When I travel overseas, I don't use any of the big 4 bank cards because the spread's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, that's just the guardrail.
Yeah. But
it doesn't matter. Like, so they just, the hard rule in my life, I pay cards with cash. I don't use those cards overseas. I have a weekly allowance to my spending account. If I run out of money on the day before payday, I'm happy to have cereal that night.
Yeah, you'll be having 2-minute noodles. Yeah. So that's, so you're making some pretty big sacrifices, or not sacrifices, but you're acknowledging that the goals are in place, or the frameworks in place to keep you on track. And I think that's really valuable. I know
that Glen James is a recovering spender. Yeah. My emergency fund is an offset account, but it's hidden in my internet banking. I can't actually physically see it.
Yeah, that is a great
But I know
idea.
that there's 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is, worth of cash there.
Yeah, I mean, you think about how much stress money behaviours can cause, and if in the absence of a guardrail, you can go off course really easily. Yeah, and if we don't have a North Star, the risk is that you end up in debt that feels insurmountable. And I guess I've seen the worst example of that, where somebody has committed suicide, for example, and they haven't been able to face the consequences of the debt and other things like gambling, addiction, where the hole is too deep and they can't find a way out. So nobody wants to be in that situation. But I think our overall well-being is tied to our financial well-being. And we all have an opportunity, but also a responsibility to take it quite seriously. And if not for you, 100%. Then if you've got a partner, it's the same thing. Like, it's no question that people come into relationships and they have completely different spending habits and behaviours. But I think you can say that, here's my money story. This is where I came from. here's where we would like to go. Let's sort of set some ground rules up so that we both agree that you can have the kind of slush fund or whatever it might be to do the play things, but let's limit it to here because our overarching goal together is buying an investment unit or whatever it might be, or it might be buying a nice car. I don't think it matters so much what the thing is, but demonstrating the discipline to actually do that, I think, is half the job. Actually having a conversation. You know what I like when you said you often maybe are quite open about these things, but one of the things I'm a big fan of is normalizing money conversations so that people don't, I grew up in a generation where it's still people are still a bit awkward talking about money. Yeah, sure, you don't ask somebody what they earn or how much they're worth, but you can have really practical conversations about how to save money, like going overseas. I've got young adult sons who travel overseas and we'll use, not even though we're with a Big Four bank, we'll use a non-Big Four bank card to travel, but partly through being burnt by fees and charges, at other times. So, anyway, yeah.
Hey, it's Glen here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.